Now, if you've heard of YUNZII before, it's probably because of their enthusiast-style keyboards, so I'm pretty interested today in reviewing one of the lesser-known product lines to see how it stacks up. This video is part 1 of a 2-part YUNZII series. Later on, we'll be checking out one of their keyboards. Today we're unboxing and reviewing the YUNZII C2 Silent Silicone Wireless Gaming Mouse, which was sent out to me by YUNZII. One thing to note is that on the YUNZII website, they actually call this mouse a gaming mouse. Although there is no mention of this on the box or on the warranty, my guess is that this was a late positioning change after manufacturing, likely to appeal to a wider audience. So let's see whether it actually lives up to that gaming label. Inside, you'll find the mouse itself and a manual. There's no separate paper warranty card, but on the YUNZII website, they state it's covered for 12 months against defects as long as you keep your original invoice. On the underside, you've got the battery compartment, which takes a single AA battery. YUNZII claims up to around 6 months of battery life, which is believable for a low-power 2.4 GHz mouse using a decent capacity AA cell. Inside that compartment is the 2.4 GHz USB dongle. You just plug this into your PC or laptop and you're good to go. No drivers, no software. You're out of luck if you want connection flexibility here, as there is no Bluetooth mode. That's not a deal breaker at this price, and 2.4 GHz dongles tend to be more stable and lower latency than budget Bluetooth anyway, but you do sacrifice a USB port. The first thing I noticed was the weight and build quality. This mouse feels weighty in the hand and comes in at 121.5 grams. It feels solid to hold and overall comes across as well made. The big selling point is the silicone outer shell, which I've never felt in a mouse before. It's soft and firmly squishy and doesn't feel like a thin, loose skin. It has a solid depth to it, if that makes sense. The silicone wraps around the sides with a powdery matte texture that adds grip, with the shell housing the buttons extending slightly underneath into the silicone area. I love the squishiness and texture of the silicone shell. It's genuinely fun to hold and squeeze, and it stands out from the usual hard plastic options. The colorway on this one is pink, a pastel pink on the top around the buttons, and a softer, lighter pink around the sides. It's not something I'd personally pick for myself, but it's still objectively a nice color. If pink isn't your thing, it also comes in blue and gray. This is a small mouse clearly geared towards small to medium hands. My hands are on the medium side, and I found it a bit too small for a relaxed palm grip, so I naturally ended up using more of a claw grip. Basically, if you have small hands, this mouse is fine for any grip. If you've got medium hands, you might find a claw grip works better. If you got large hands, you're definitely going to feel cramped. Here it is next to my larger Logitech MX Master 3, so you can see the difference in size. Ergonomically, there's not a ton of sculpting going on. There's a slight bump on the left side for your thumb and some gentle curves that make it comfortable enough to use, but it's not a dedicated ergonomic shape you'd find in mice designed for long hours of work, such as those found in Logitech mice. In terms of buttons, the mouse keeps it simple and silent, which is another highlight. The left and right buttons are pretty quiet and feel responsive enough for normal use. You still get a click feel, but the sound is heavily dampened. The scroll wheel is almost silent and lightly notched for just enough feedback. It feels sturdy, and if you nudge it to the right, it actually clicks, which made me think there'd be a tilt scroll function, but there isn't. Instead, nudging it to the right or pressing it down both trigger a middle click. I don't think it's a manufacturing flaw, but it is a quirky design choice. The DPI button feels firm, but isn't silent. It's not a big deal considering you won't be using it as much as the other buttons. Click it and you can change the DPI from 800 to 1200 and 1600. Here's what the buttons sound like. Flipping it over, you get PTFE Teflon feet. On my fabric pad, the glide is fine, but not super fast. It has a little more friction and grab on the mat, which I suspect is due to the smaller surface area of the feet. For casual use and casual gaming, it's totally okay, but if you really like an ultra glidey, low friction feel, you might notice it's a bit more controlled rather than slippery. Earlier, I mentioned that YUNZII markets this as a gaming mouse, and honestly, I don't think it really fits that label. The DPI tops out at 1600, and the polling rate maxes out at 250 Hz. That's perfectly fine for everyday use in casual gaming, but it's well below what you'd expect from a true gaming mouse, which boasts higher specs, companion software for customizations, and a more gamer-friendly build with ergonomics and extra buttons. So who does this mouse actually make sense for? It's kind of an interesting one. It doesn't fully commit to gaming or productivity. It lacks the specs, buttons, and ergonomics to truly excel at either. Instead, it's ideal for people who work and play casually. If your daily use is browsing, documents, spreadsheets, light editing, and your gaming is more relaxed than competitive, this mouse fits that niche nicely. The silent clicks also make it a great option for shared spaces or late-night use. It's cute, aesthetically pleasing, and feels surprisingly well made considering it typically sells for under $35. And honestly, that squishy silicone shell can get a bit addictive. If its size and limitations fit how you plan to use it, I'd easily recommend it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our next YUNZII keyboard review.